right, and we are back. Once again, you're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show, and we are. I thought I had it, but evidently now we are. Now we are streaming live on all four platforms to see how this goes. And at any time, if there's any questions after we get done answering the two questions that we have from the listeners that Smitty decided to do, he will address those as we come to them. But ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. It is anything is possible.
And now it's time for Anything is Possible with Smitty.
Hey, that's me.
All right, so I think DJ did a good job on that,
I
don't
like
you?
that.
Don't you? All right, so
So
talk
we are
to us,
back
Smitty.
with another episode or installment of Anything's Possible with me,
Yes.
your host, Smitty. Actually, right now, I only have the one question from our listener, Lucy. She says, my puppy is only 3 months old and is pretty well behaved, but after playing for a bit, he'll start to get nippy. Actually, he's bitten me pretty bad yesterday.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to get a toy between us so he'll realize that type of play is for his toys, but I'm afraid he'll bite someone else in the heat of playing. Is there a more direct way to address a little nipper? Thank you for the question, Lucy. That's a great question that we have today. So with nipping puppies, it's an interesting thing. So they're just trying to figure out how everything works. I mean, a 3-month old puppy. I'm not entirely sure what kind of puppy this is.
Does it? I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to.
Nope, go ahead.
Does it matter, like, species-wise?
Breed-wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does, absolutely. Because some breeds are not really bred to bite. In a certain aspect, like professional working dogs and protection dogs and everything, like we were talking about a little Dachshund earlier. The little Dachshund's not supposed to be a little protection dog. Like, it's possible, but it is not likely that it would be the greatest outcome, because then you have this crazy little mini biter dog just running around everybody's ankles, and there you have a wiener ankle biter.
What's that?
What's that?
But so basically at that age, puppies are just starting to kind of get used to their entire bodies, like kids playing with their fingers, putting them in their mouth. They're trying to figure out how everything works. So what we have to do as the owner handlers, I like to say, is we have to teach bite-abition, which is basically teaching the puppy when to bite, or when it's okay to bite, and when it's not okay to bite. So the first thing I read there was pretty well behaved, but after playing for a bit, he'll start to get nippy. Now that's the first sign to me that the dog is being a little overworked. And in those kind of situations, if you overwork the dog, even just playing, the dog can get a little stressed out, maybe a little tired, and that's when things can kind of become sloppy. And then they kind of maybe misdirect their little bite onto the human, and that's where some dogs get into a lot of trouble. So what I am a big fan of doing, essentially you can teach your dog to bite and to not bite. Two different things right there. Most dogs, you don't want them to bite, besides on their toys, but dogs do not 100% understand that. Dogs are pretty much 100% or nothing kind of thing at times. So it's kind of if you want your dog to bite, or if you don't want your dog to bite. So if you don't want your dog to bite, the one good thing you can do is, usually what I like to do with smaller puppies especially, is And I've heard this go quite a different ways. But one thing I like to do is just if the puppy is biting me and I don't want it to,
Mhm.
I'll simply fish hook it and kind of like hook one of its lips over its teeth and then kind of apply a slight bit of pressure.
Okay, now you got to show us a demonstration.
Hmm.
Okay, so
So basically, putting your finger in the dog's mouth with its gum or with its lip over its own teeth, and then you apply a little bit of pressure down, however much the dog needs. That's what we call titration, the level of correction given to a dog for a certain thing. Um, and you just have to kind of go along with the dog. I mean, start off with very minimal pressure, and then kind of work up until the dog kind of thinks it's not comfortable anymore, and then you pretty much just stop the situation. If you don't want your dog to nip you, do not continue playing with your dog after that. Kind of reset the entire scenario. Like if your dog nips you, you apply the little bit of pressure on his teeth with his lip, and dog might essentially let out a little yelp. And that's when you really need to stop, kind of reset, and they'd be like, okay, that's done. We're not going to do that again. Go off and do something else for a little bit, and give that dog a little rest. Because again, after some hardcore playing, dogs seem to get a little bit lazy with some things, and so they kind of just are a little bit all over the place. But if you do want your dog to bite, working with protection dogs and high-end working dogs, you want to have that reward be the toy and not anything else.
well,
So
since she's a first-time dog owner,
yeah, so
I
with that,
doubt she's trying to train this dog to be like a guard
right.
dog.
Yep, but just with the toys, or you can kind of just redirect, give the little bit of slight lip pressure for the correction, and then kind of redirect back to the toy if the dog isn't tired enough to not nip you again, if that makes sense. You guys
Okay.
picking that up?
Yeah, I get it because I had to do that to Tilly.
Yeah.
Actually, I just grabbed her by the tooth.
Yep.
And just held her there for a second, and she was.
It kind of
What are you
stuns them
doing?
out of it for a
Yeah.
minute, and then you just like let go and go off and do something else, and then they're like, okay, what are we doing now? We're not playing anymore. We got to do something else.
I think one thing too. I don't know. Maybe you mentioned it. I wasn't paying attention, but you need to reinforce it every time,
Yes.
not just
Absolutely.
that one time.
Yep. Yeah, you have to catch with corrections. You have to catch it every single time as it's happening because essentially you have 1 to 3 to maybe 5 seconds at the most to correct a dog for a bad behavior. Otherwise, if you correct it after that, like if you correct it after that, they're going to be like, "What did I do wrong? I don't understand the context of this correction." Like if what am I trying to think of?
I'd associate it with coming home to a pile of.
Yeah,
on the
so with
floor.
that, actually, that's exactly where I was going. A lot of people try to correct their dogs for going to the bathroom in the house. And then some people think that if they rub their dog's nose in it like a cat into their own mess, they aren't going to do it again. But if you do that, from my understanding, is the dog's already forgot about it, and he looks at, if you rub his nose in it, he's going to look back up at you and be like, why'd you poop on the floor, dude? Like,
Yep.
why you rubbing my nose in it? Because you just really lost that, you lost the ability for that correction, because it doesn't mean anything because it's taken so long. It's not immediate. Now, if you catch a dog going to the bathroom inside the house and you kind of snatch it up and be like, nope, in the act of it happening, that's where potty training gets really interesting, because you're literally catching the dog in the act of going number 1 or 2 inside the house. And with potty training, you should have the dog on a leash at all times, especially if you're still working on things like that, so you can literally just reel the dog into you as fast as possible. Be like, nope, you're not doing that, and we're going to go straight outside.
Well, I know the last two times that we've started this segment, you even said out of the cattle gate that the key thing with training a dog was repetition.
Absolutely.
That you have to continuing doing.
And consistency. I like to
Right.
say, what is my kind of thing? Consistency, repetition, and variables. I think those three things make muscle memory in humans like us, as well as dogs or other kind of animals. If you do something the same way every single time, over and over and over again, in as many different kind of environments as you can, kind of like what we did in the military, starting off small, growing bigger, getting to the final controlled chaos situations, and then we kind of are we have the muscle memory down to where we know how to do whatever we're trying to do in any situation that we're in, and that essentially to me is dog training. That's why I like the term battle drill so much. You guys remember the definition?
I don't remember the definition, but I remember hearing it all the time.
A battle drill, by definition, per the Ranger Handbook, is a complex action rapidly
Oh, that's
executed
right.
without applying a deliberate decision-making process. I'll say that one more time. Complex action rapidly executed without applying a deliberate decision-making process. I
Yeah.
love that.
Me
I
and
love
rapidly doing anything doesn't happen anymore.
it. But I think that's like a perfect definition for dog training because it's basically going into chaos that you've controlled and doing it without even thinking about it. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. A symphony of chaos controlled. It's wonderful. But so yeah, redirect the dog back to the question. Redirect the dog, or correct the dog slightly, and then redirect the dog back to playing effectively with whatever toy. Um, Usually, I'm not a fan of all the stuffed toys and everything that come out of the pet stores because your dog's just going to destroy them, possibly eat the fluff, and cause blockage, and that can really be bad for your dog. Um, so, watch the toys that you kind of use with your dog because they can just destroy them and eat the stuffing inside or just leave it all around the house for you to pick up later on, which is never fun.
Now
Um,
for chew toys, because she didn't ask this, but since
mhm.
she's a first time dog owner,
Yep.
I'm sure it's one of those questions that she would probably ask if she was watching, and she'll probably ask again.
Yep.
But what is your suggestions on like
Chew
dogs?
toys?
Yeah, on chew toys. What
So
would you suggest?
The black Kongs.
generally, I would definitely recommend Kong's.
Okay.
I think Kong is based in Golden, Colorado. I would actually love to be able to go to their facility and like walk around and like even make like my own toy because like I have a couple of ideas that would be super cool and just
Okay.
kind of like fun, I guess. But it's like a fun Kong. But Kongs, I mean, they come in like 2 inches tall up to like 4 to 6 inches tall. They
Right.
come in different colors, which is depending on what kind of dog should be using them. Black is the most indestructible one.
Black.
Red's the normal one for most dogs, and then there's like a soft blue one, I believe. I think blue is just a little softer than the red ones.
I've never seen those ones.
But yeah, I think Kongs are really great for just the normal house pets. Most dogs aren't able to destroy a Kong. Um, but if if your dog is able to destroy a Kong, get a black one. Or you might need to consult a protection trainer and possibly look into little tug toys and bite wedges for those who are having protection dogs. You want to get tug toys, usually made out of, oh, I can't remember what it is. It's like fire hose, though. It's basically like fire hose, but it's like,
Oh, recycled fire. I've seen those
yeah.
ones.
I mean, you can get those, the like actual fire hose ones, or there's, I can't remember what kind of material it's made out of, but it basically looks the same as a fire hose, but it's just really, really thick. Super awesome stuff.
Isn't it the name of the company is Tug Toy, isn't it?
I'm sure
Or
there's
some
one
kind.
named that at least. I mean, there's so many different ones. Like there's another great company out there called Indestructibone. I think that company, if I got
Well,
that
here,
name right,
I'll look it up while you guys are talking. You think it's
Okay.
called what? Tug Tones?
Indestructibone. I think that's the company. I think they make, if that is the company, they make really good, kind of like rubberized, like hardened rubber tug toys, kind of like a Kong, but they're just kind of like a long bar, I guess.
That's what
Yep.
I'm coming
Boom.
up with.
Yep. That is it right there. Is that oh, bulletproof pet products? There we go. They make some really good stuff out there. They support the.
How much you want to bet that that's veteran owned? And if you tell them that you're a veteran, I guarantee you we could probably get some free
Hey,
samples.
just a quick shout out for these guys. If you want to use F Treat, you can get up to, what is it? Free treats with 50% or more purchased while supplies last. So you got a little. If you want to go to check out Bulletproof Pet Products, you can get a little discount on the top of the screen when you check out. It looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, they support veterans, military, law enforcement. These guys look pretty awesome. They make some great products. I know a lot of trainers that use these products.
I bet they're veteran owned. Just by
It wouldn't
looking,
surprise me.
By looking at their website, it looks like.
I need to get that pink color for Tilly.
I bet you do.
Oh, excuse me, she's a girl.
Yeah.
Get a pink color for you.
I'll have to maybe send them a note. Maybe we can get some free samples and demonstrate their.
Yeah,
their
I
stuff.
would love to. Yeah, they are working dog approved. I love that one right there.
Oh, especially this is the thing I don't understand. So I just realized this yesterday.
Okay.
Tilly can go through a Kong, no problem. Stuffed toys, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Squeaker, maybe a minute.
Yep.
I've had this orange Nerf ball that I got. It's for dogs.
Yeah.
And she sits there for, 8, 9 hours a day, however long we're driving around. She's sitting there chewing on it, and there's nothing. No punctures, nothing.
Nice. Oh, another thing about biting. If you're just looking for something to have your dog chew on while you're away from home and it's inside the kennel, or you're just looking for a good chew toy that's healthy for your dog, I would look into deer antlers or ram horns. I'm a
I have
huge
the
fan
ram
of.
horns.
Yeah, I got a ram horn that both of my dogs kind of fight over at times. But I got a deer antler somewhere else too. But deer antlers are really great for dogs. They help clean their teeth a little bit, and they take forever. You can't destroy a ram horn or a deer antler in just a couple of minutes, and no dog will be able to do that. Not even the most high drive shepherds and Malinois will be able to do that, I think.
I have 5 of them at the house. And there's one of them that just got down to the nub recently.
Yeah, like my ram horn is like, I don't know, the size of a liter Coke or something, like a 20 fluid ounce drink, and like they just nibbled off the cap of it so far. Like it's all there still. But yeah, I would look into deer antlers if you just want your little puppy to just hang out while you're doing work at home or of some kind, and you just want your little dog to just stay in one spot, buy a nice little dog bed for it, and put the horn on or antler on the dog bed and have at it.
And I like the deer antler. First of all, my dog don't seem to like it. They like the rawhide.
Watch out for the rawhides. I'll get into the rawhides. Do you know what's in them?
Salmonella.
Kind of, but why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners?
It's well, essentially what I've seen is there is paint and glue in rawhide.
Okay.
Paint and glue. So nothing comes in that form naturally. They have to heat it up and mold it into that form and then glue it into place so it stays there. And then they paint it. So I don't know.
Isn't that a horse's natural form, glue?
Bad joke.
Oh,
Where is that button?
that's horrible.
And we're canceled.
Bad. But Yeah, I am not a fan of rawhides whatsoever. Your dogs can chew those and I don't know, just swallow chunks it seems, and it does nothing seems natural in rawhides to me. Everything that I have ever looked at, even briefly, nothing in that product seems natural, or good for any dog for that matter. Like I've seen it, there was glue in it, paint in it. Let me just try to see if I can pull up. How much time do we have left?
We got about 2 minutes.
Okay, so raw hide. Um, let's see if I can find this real quick.
Well, it's like I found out one of the protein bars that I enjoyed eating so much and wouldn't screw around with my blood sugars had carnauba wax in it.
Yeah.
Same thing you polish your car with. Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, half the stuff that we put in our body, if we knew how it was made, we probably wouldn't be eating it.
Fact.
Hot
That is a
dogs.
fact.
Did you ever see that video of Snoop Dogg watching how hot dogs are made?
No.
What is
Nope.
this? Marshmallows?
So check this out.
Okay.
They call rawhides the deadliest chew toy. Step 1, separate the layers of leather. Step 2, bleach leather and chemically preserve. That sounds healthy.
Oh, a little bit of bleach.
Step 3, enhance leather with coloring. That sounds
Okay.
wonderful. And step 4, cut, roll, glue, and press into shapes.
So we really need to like investigate and instruct our listeners which companies to get
Absolutely.
the rawhide from.
Yep. The
So
ones that we
that
would
sounds
promote.
like a job for Smitty.
That does. I've actually been working on it. I mean, I kind of have my finger in a lot of parts of the dog industry, so it's been interesting.
That wasn't how I thought that sentence was going to come out, but I'm glad that it came out that way. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, it's time to go on a music break, everybody, and when we come back, do not go away. Keep on listening, but when we come back, we'll be hitting into the interview of the week. So whatever you do, stay with us. Don't go away. You're listening to the show that highlights all the nonprofit programs out there beyond the VA. You're listening to the H Train Show.